Multiplying and dividing with scientific notation. The learning goal is to learn how to multiply and divide numbers when they're in scientific notation. Let's review scientific notation form. Here we have a coefficient, 4.35, and a power of 10. And during this lesson, you'll have to remember what a product rule is. So when the base is the same, you add the exponents. And the quotient rule states that when you're dividing two numbers with the same base, you subtract the exponents. Multiplying and dividing with scientific notation. So step 1, you will multiply the coefficients when multiplying in scientific notation and divide the coefficients when you're dividing in scientific notation. Step 2, use the product rule or the quotient rule to change the exponent of the power of 10. So let's look at the example of when you're multiplying two numbers or two numbers represented in scientific notation. Example 1. We have two numbers in scientific notation, 4 times 10 to the power of 4 and 6.3 times 10 to the power of 5. So we're going to apply the product rule because we have two numbers that have the same base here being the power of 10, so we add the exponents. So we multiply the coefficients first, 4 times 6.3 times 10, and we add the exponents, 4 plus 5, which is equal to 25.2 times 10 to the power of 9. Now let's look at the example of when we are dividing in scientific notation. So we have two numbers with the same base, or the power of 10. One is exponent 8, the other one is exponent of 2. And we're going to apply the quotient rule, which states if the base is the same, you subtract the exponents. But the first step here is to divide the coefficients. So 7.82 divided by 3.4 times 10 to the power of 8 minus to the power of 6. So our third step is to ensure that the final answer is in scientific notation form. So here we have an answer that's not in scientific form because there are two digits here. It's not a digit from 1 to 9 in the ones only. And for example 2, it is in scientific notation. So let's see what we need to do if it's not in scientific notation. So step 3, we read the first step, and then here the second point is use LARS if needed to write the number correctly. Left add, right subtract. So if you add to the exponent, the decimal moves left. So left add. And then right subtract. So if you subtract from the exponent, the decimal moves right, the same number of spaces. Or if you notice that the decimal moves to the right, you know you need to subtract from the exponent. Example 1. So continuing on with this step, it is 25.2 times 10 to the power of 9. Now I need to move my decimal to the left to have a number in the ones between 1 and 10. So using LARS, I am moving to the left, so I'm going to add the same number. So I'm moving to the left by 1 place, so I'm going to add 1 to the exponent. Therefore, this equals 2.52 times 10 to the power of 10. And for example 2, since it's already in scientific notation, we don't have to do anything to it as it already is. Question 1. Evaluate and write each answer in scientific notation. So we have two numbers in scientific notation, and they are the multiplication between the two. Therefore, we are going to multiply the coefficients and then add the exponents for the power of 10. So 3.8 times 2.5 times 10 to the power of 6 plus negative 3, which is equal to 9.5 times 10 to the power of 3, because 6 plus negative 3 is really 6 minus 3. Therefore, the exponent here is 3. B, so we have two numbers. We're going to divide, which means we're going to subtract the exponents. So first we're going to divide the coefficients. 9.8 divided by 4 times 10 to the power of 5 minus 2, which is equal to 2.45 times 10 to the power of 3. Let's look at C. So we have multiplication. So we're going to multiply the coefficients. Then we're going to add the exponents. So 6.4 times 7 is equal to 44.8 times 10 to the power of 12. So this is not in scientific notation. So we're going to have to move the decimal place to have a number in the ones between 1 and 9, or a number 1 to 10. So we're going to move it to the left, which means we have to add to the exponent. Therefore, it is 4.48 times 10 to the power of 13. Let's look at D. So we have division. So we're going to divide the coefficients. 4.5 multiplied by the power of 10 to the exponent of 8 minus 3, which is equal to 0.3 times 10 to the power of 5. So we notice that this is not in scientific notation because we can't have a 0 in the ones space. It has to be a number between 1 and 10. So if I write Lars, I'm going to have to move this decimal place one space to the right. So from moving to the right, we're going to subtract from the exponent. Therefore, this is equal to 3 times 10 to the power of 4.